Hello, this is Your Money, your weekly guide to making the most of your cash here every weekend on BBC News Television, available all week on the BBC iPlayer. On the programme today, the rapid rise of house prices, but do the headlines tell the whole story? We'll find out. Fit to fly. If you need a letter from your doctor to say you're healthy enough to take a plane, chances are you'll have to pay for it. So why does it cost so much? And we magnify the small print. We find out why clauses in travel insurance could leave expectant mothers or families with children without cover. Hello and welcome to Your Money. I'm Susannah Streeter. Property prices are going up at the fastest rate since 2006, according to the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. A survey of its members found that there had been increases in every region, although London and neighbouring areas continue to see the biggest rises. A separate survey from the Office of National Statistics says that prices in the year to June rose by 3.1%. But what impact will this have on buyers and sellers? Well, with me now is property expert Henry Pryor, who's sold a fair few houses in his time, haven't you, Henry?
Absolutely, yes.
So is it all sellers who are rubbing their hands with glee, or are these price rises, these significant ones at least, concentrated in certain parts of the country?
Well, inevitably this is a London-centric story where most of the headlines, I'm afraid, are generated. And so, yes, we've seen in the capital house prices since the credit crunch of 2007 rise by 20% or more. But that's not the story across the whole of the UK. And as you said in the headlines there, the Office for National Statistics confirms that actually across the UK house prices, the deal prices, were only up by 3.1%. And in fact, in the northeast of England, house prices are still 10% below their peak just prior to the credit crunch in 2007.
So are some sellers simply being greedy?
Well, then there is obviously the gap between the credibility gap between buyers and sellers. Sellers in London, where these headlines are generated, are on average asking a lot more than they were, about 12% more than they were 12 months ago. But the deal prices in the capital are only at 6.7%. Above where they were 12 months ago. So there's a big credibility gap between what buyers are asking and what sellers are actually paying.
And many would-be first-time buyers would be dismayed by these headlines. It simply means they will take much longer to get onto the property ladder. But is that the case? There are schemes out there which are giving them help, aren't there? Well,
indeed, the government have a raft of proposals that are there to stimulate the housing market. They've got the very controversial Help to Buy scheme, which the government confirmed has had 10,000 registrations since it was launched in April. But that actually only comes out of roughly 331,000 homes that have sold during that period. So whilst Help to Buy is a headline grabber, it's actually probably giving more in terms of a feel-good factor rather than actually a credible difference to the number of houses that are selling.
What about those people who have simply no chance of getting a deposit together and are worried about rents rising? Have there been any indication of how the future may pan out for them?
Well, we've seen over the last decade renting has suddenly become cool. People are prepared to rent, mainly because they have to. 3.8 million people in the private rented sector and roughly 4 million taking social housing as their form of accommodation. Very, very good news story from Legal & General this week. They've decided to roll up their sleeves and participate in the private rented sector. They're going to invest billions of pounds in the private rented sector, providing rented accommodation. This is a big and important step forward, something we should watch and we will watch in the months to come. Could make a big, big difference.
OK, Henry Pryor, thank you very much for talking to us.